So, did you ever feel that? I'm asking this because I would like to know what is the significance of having a guru in your life, because it's clearly an Indian tradition, and
Yeah.
you not being from India have
You know, I had a dream once that I was taking rebirth, right? I was coming down to earth, and I made a wrong turn and wound up in New York. I actually had that dream, you know. I mean, when I came to India, I just felt I was home again. And the funny feeling was, I got off the plane in Mumbai at the end of August 1970. And in those days, you had to get off the plane and walk on the, yeah. And the minute my foot hit the ground, I went, I'm home. Yeah, it was just, I'm home. And I realized I had never felt at home before, anywhere like that. And you don't know that until you have the feeling. And I had the feeling, I said, I'm home. And it was completely unexpected. Although I remember I saw a movie when I was in college, Padre Panchali, by, Satyajit Ray. And I was like this, the whole movie, because everything was familiar. The scenes in the village and the way people talked and moved, and I was like, I couldn't believe it, you know?
This is before you came to India?
Sure, way before. Yeah, way before. And it was seeing that movie that made me want to come to India, actually. Made me realize that I had to go to India.
So I was reading that you chanced upon hearing something of Indian cassette or Indian Devi chants or something at that time also.
There was some Devi chants done by the Ramakrishna order. There were Westerners, I think. It was very Westernized chanting. But it turned out to be the Narayani Stuti, which I later realized what it was. You know, it was so beautiful. I used to listen to it all the time. I think that was the first real part that I ever heard, you know, the first chanting I ever heard that was really from the traditions. Yeah, I think it probably was. So a friend of mine had this UNESCO, you know, United Nations Education System, whatever it was. We put out some records in those days. That's how far long ago it was.
So this, when you came to India, this was in 70s, right?
1970, August 1970.
So were you a part of that flower generation?
I was the weed generation, you know. There were flowers and weeds. I was the weeds.
You were?
Yeah, I was part of that. But you know, I wasn't really a hippie because I was too unhappy. Hippies were kind of like, they were supposedly happy. I was definitely not supposedly happy. I was pretty depressed as a kid, pretty unhappy, pretty unsatisfied with my life, and a lot of questions. What's this all about? Where's this going? Why am I here? There were no answers anywhere.
Well, I'm asking you this is because in today's time in India, there's a lot of substance abuse that's going on, and a lot of people consider it to be like their own kind of out-of-body experience, and something that will connect to their spirituality. I would really like you to share some thoughts because we'll be playing this out on radio.
Sure.
And anything that you would like to tell people about, there can't be a comparison between a substance abuse and chanting, but is spirituality something that's out-of-body experience, or is it something that's really with?
I used to have a friend. He died, unfortunately. But he was a beautiful guy, and he was somebody who was naturally completely gone all the time. And I remember one day he said to me, "My God, I'm having an in-the-body experience." Listen, it's about love. It's about love. It's about learning to love ourselves. It's about learning to see other people as a part of ourself and our love. It's learning to be good to ourselves and good to other people. It's learning how to become a good human being. That's why we do these practices. We're not going to some other planet to live. We're here. And we're not going anywhere. And if we can't get this right, we ain't going to be here long. So, all these spiritual practices gives you the strength to become a good human being. Now, you have experiences on the way. Some of them can be helpful, some of them can be harmful. The problem with drug-induced experiences or chemically-induced experiences is that part of you knows you've always taken a chemical. The chemicals can't kill the ego. The chemicals cannot permanently remove the delusion that we're separate from everything else in the world, because that's a delusion. We are not separate. But that experience and those awarenesses come from within over time by developing and coming into contact with true unconditional love and compassion. On the other hand, I would not be here if I hadn't taken LSD. I can't honestly say anything else. When I took LSD, I experienced something that was completely different than anything. Actually, it wasn't LSD, it was peyote, which is a cactus that the Native Americans use in their religious ceremonies. And it's a psychedelic drug, similar to LSD in a way. So that was my first experience that there was anything different than Mickey Mouse, you know. And it totally changed my life. And it made me, and the other thing was when I was in that state, I absolutely knew that this was more real than the way I had been living. And that changed everything. Because I knew I needed to find a way to find out what this reality is, you know. And the shallowness and the superficiality of my daily life up to that point was so apparent, it was astounding. The depth I was feeling and the love and the compassion and the connection to the universe was so strong that it changed me forever. It didn't change me actually forever. It changed me for a little while, and then I became the stupid person I was before I took it. But then I knew there was something different, and then I had to find a way to reach that again. And that's what really kick-started my spiritual path. You know, because then I knew there was a path. I knew there was something to know other than TV and you know, and the bullshit that I was involved with every day, which was the same stuff that everybody was involved with around me. So how was I to know there was anything else, right? So that kind of opened me up to something. It didn't permanently change me, but it showed me there was something was possible, and that's a big thing.
So would you just like to point out three things, like you mentioned ego, like, you know, three things that we really need to be conscious of in terms of, you know, working towards being happy.
Yeah.
So like ego is something that you said you need to keep in check.
Ego, it's all ego. Ego means self-centered, motivated behavior. Everything we do is self-centered. There's nothing wrong with that. We breathe, we eat, we do other things. And it's all about the preservation of the species, the serving ourselves. We need to eat, we need to breathe, we need to be with other people, we need to find a way to live. The idea is how to do it in a good way. And the more you understand, I mean, the really great saints say that really there is no ego. That the ego is only a temporary delusion. Like, it's not something permanent and real. Where is it? Can you show me where it is? No. It's a collection of thoughts.
Emotions.
All those things, thoughts, emotions, feelings, everything, and life experiences, but all that, and memory, all that goes into this thing we call an ego, but really, where is it, you know? It's not a thing that, when you're born, they don't pin it on you and say, okay, carry this until you die. It just develops, it's a feeling that develops. And it's a limitation on ourselves that comes from a lot of things. It's very complex once you get into it. But the point is that what we need is a healthy ego, an ego that leads us in the right direction, a good direction, a direction that brings us the things we need in life. You need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to breathe, you need to do a lot of things. You need to satisfy a certain number of your desires, otherwise you'll be frustrated all the time. That's not useful. There's nothing wrong with desires, or, you know, they don't necessarily lead to unhappiness, but everything has a place in life. So we are happy when we're moving in the right direction, and we're unhappy when we're moving away from real love, you could say, is where we're headed. Real love is the love that lives within us, you know, as who we really are already. And it's just covered up with a lot of bullshit. So spiritual practice, chanting, meditation, all these things, that helps us uncover what's already there. We're not getting anything new. Namaste, Ram Ram, I'm Krishna Das. You're listening to the Mirchi Devrag channel. Apki Bhakti, Apki Shakti. Namaste. Subscribe to the Mirchi Devrag YouTube channel right here, right now. Abhi.